Hello, welcome to the licensing hearing on the 16th of January 2025. The first item on the agenda is to elect a member to act as chair of the meeting. I understand that Councillor Melly has been elected, is that correct? So I'll pass over to Councillor Melly to chair.
Thank you very much. Welcome everybody to this licensing hearing. We are being filmed, recorded. This hearing will be live webcast and it will be publicly available to view after the hearing is finished as well. So with that in mind, we have microphones to use so that we can be picked up for the webcast. So just everybody, before you start speaking, please just press the little mic button in the middle and make sure the green light comes on and speak into the microphone so everybody can be heard clearly, please. Thank you very much. So I'll start with some introductions. The three of us here are the councillors who make up the hearing panel. Councillor Baxter, I'm Councillor Melly, this is Councillor Nichols, and as has been said, I'll be chairing. And we have some council officers with us as well. Helen Sefton is the licensing officer, Rhys Williams is the Democratic Services Officer, and Jodie Ingram is our legal officer for legal advice. Welcome to the applicant. Hello, Mr. Dervishi, and we have one representative as well, Mr. Allen. Welcome to both of you. So we'll go through the agenda, which you should all have received. We'll start with we've done chair. We haven't got any apologies, introductions. Right, declarations of interest. Do any members of the panel have any disclosable pecuniary interests or any other interests to declare? No, neither do I. Exclusion of press and public. So I propose that we exclude the press and public from the deliberations and decision making at the end of the hearing on the grounds that the public interest in excluding the public outweighs the public interest in that part of the meeting taking place in public. Is that resolved? Great, thank you very much. So we've resolved to exclude press and public from that part of the meeting. Agenda item 6, minutes. We've got some minutes from a previous licensing hearing. Got them in front of me with the date on? No, I've lost them. From the 24th of October. Can we approve those as an accurate record? I think you sat on that hearing panel, didn't you, Councillor Nichols? Yeah. Are you happy to approve them as an accurate record? Great, excellent. Then I'll sign them as an accurate record at the end of this meeting then. Okay, so the main item on the agenda item 6, is determination of an application for a premises licence at 14 Main Street, Heslington. Can I just double check that everybody has understood the procedure that we're going to follow and knows what the process is going to be? Yeah, you're both comfortable with it? I'll run through it very briefly just to make sure everybody is, fully comfortable with what we're going to do this morning. So we'll start with the licensing officer introducing her report, and then we'll all, the applicant, the representative, the panel will have an opportunity to ask the licensing officer questions on her report. The applicant will then have time to make a representation to us, up to 15 minutes maximum, and then the representative and the panel will be able to ask you questions. And then the representative, you'll have the same opportunity, the same length of time to make a representation. And again, the applicant and the panel will be able to ask you questions. And then you'll each have time to sum up if they've got any final points to make. And then we'll just have any final questions, final points of clarification, just make sure we've got all the information we need, and then we'll go into a private deliberation to make our decision. And then we will, after we've made our decision in private, we'll come back into this room and let you know our decision. You can wait somewhere else and come back, or you'll receive a letter to inform you of the notice, and it will be recorded so you can watch it online as well. Is that all okay? Yep, great. Okay, thank you very much. So we'll move on then to the licensing officer's report. If you could introduce that for us, please. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. So this is an application for the grant of a premises licence made by Mr. Klodian Dervishi of 14 Main Street, Heslington, York. The nature of the application is to allow for the sale of alcohol for the consumption off the premises at a local convenience store. The application is for the sale of alcohol, and I said it's off the premises. It's from 8 AM to 8 PM Monday to Saturday, and from 10 AM to 4 PM on Sundays. The premises opening hours are also the same, 8 AM to 8 PM Monday to Saturday and 10 AM to 4 PM on Sundays. A copy of the application and plans can be found at Annex 1 in the report, and that starts at page 37. As part of the application, the operating schedule submitted by the applicant shows they intend to meet the licensing objectives as indicated in paragraph 9 of the report, and that starts page 28 through to page 30. The premises is not located within the council's cumulative impact area, I can confirm that the consultation process for this application was carried out correctly. The applicant has negotiated with North Yorkshire Police during the consultation period, and he has agreed to amend some of the conditions offered within the operating schedule. Therefore, North Yorkshire Police have made no further representation. Their agreed conditions are at Annex 2. A representation has been received from one other person who has objected to the grant of this licence, stating that the objectives of the prevention of public nuisance and the prevention of crime and disorder could be compromised if the licence is granted, and their representation is at Annex 4. A map showing the general area around the premises is at Annex 5. So the committee has the following options today when making your decision. And option 1 is to grant the licence in the terms applied for. Option 2 is to grant the licence with modified or additional conditions imposed by the licensing committee. Option 3 is to grant the licence to exclude licensable activities to which the application relates to. Option 4 is to refuse to specify a person as the premises supervisor. And option 5 is to reject the application. And that is my report, Chair. Obviously happy for any questions.
Thank you. Mr. Dervishi, do you have any questions for the licensing officer on the report? No.
It's exactly what we applied for, so yeah, aware.
Thank you. Mr. Allen, do you have any questions? Okay, thank you very much. Anybody on the panel have any questions for the licensing officer? Okay, thank you. In that case, Mr. Dervishi, I'll invite you to, you've got up to 15 minutes to talk to us. You don't have to use all the time if you don't want to, but just to make representation to us, you can start in your own time. If you just make sure the microphone's on, thank you.
Sorry. So basically, this is the convenience store or off license or with grocery. So this is mainly an individual business, which we saw opportunity in that area that probably will help all the community, also help ourselves. So this is something that we monitored. We knew that that area is like semi-rural, and that's why we decided there that is something that we can invest to in terms of that. And as we saw, we purchased this property and we applied for license. So yeah, just basically it's a convenience store. Applying for license.
Is that everything?
Sorry, I don't have much to say,
No,
but obviously
that's
it's
absolutely fine.
yeah, obviously, yeah, that's what it is. It's a convenience store.
Yeah.
A grocery and off license, yeah.
Yeah, as long as you feel like you've had the opportunity to say everything that you want to say, you don't have to use the full 15 minutes, that's fine.
Yeah, I would add some, this is very important for us because it's my first investment, and obviously there I'll live in that area as well upstairs, because if you see my application on planning is that we turn in the upstairs as a flat as well, so it will be a mixed use. And but yeah, obviously we are for a license here, so that's why I'm concentrating on license. Yeah. Cheers.
Thank you very much. Mr. Allen, do you have any questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you. Anybody in the panel have any questions for the applicant?
Yeah.
Just make sure you use the microphone.
In terms of grocery and alcohol, have you got any ideas of what percentage-wise you're going to be selling general convenience store stuff and what's going to be alcohol? Is alcohol going to be the main part, half of it, or maybe 10-20% of what you're going to stock?
As the premises is like 60 square meters. As the premises in front shop is 60 square meters. So basically we are trying to figure out how can you put as much as possible lines there. Obviously alcohol is one of the things that we saw that is missing in that area. And this something that was gap in that area that we can invest of, because that was the main reason. But we do all sorts of categories, you know, for anything like medicines, obviously baby, pet food. We do a lot of categories. I can rank them, you know, maybe 20, but in the percentage way, we think alcohol is only 20 to 30% of our sales. Obviously, we've got cigarettes as well, which is 20%, but obviously they are not as much profit from us, you know. And we've got grocery, which can be 30% grocery. And yeah, and this is another things like non-food, you know, DIY. And there is a lot of lines that, you know, help a lot of community there. And will be a nice, will be basically a very, very plus helpful, quick and easy for the community there. And I know the alcohol license is one thing, but we cannot rely on alcohol license only, because we know that, you know, that one won't bring as much, because we close at 8 as well, which is not a good chance for the, you know, most of the places now are open 24 hours, open till 11, but we're closing till 8. And we don't think that alcohol is the main thing there. We're just thinking on anything, groceries mainly. So let's break it down for you. So you've got about 20 to 30% alcohol. You've got about 30, 40% of grocery, about 10% of non-food, so that's 80, and 20% of cigarettes and vapes.
Any other questions from the?
Yeah, just. So even though you're applying for, I'm just trying to check out my facts right. You're applying for license till later than 8 o'clock. That's just because the standard thing that you're applying for.
Yeah, I'm trying actually, I cannot open more than this apply.
Okay.
So that's why.
Sorry, yeah. And then in your application, you said that during the operation, you'll be taking measures to remove and prevent litter and waste arising. You've put that in your application. Have you any thoughts about how you're going to do that?
The waste.
Yeah, you said that you'll try and remove and prevent litter and waste arising or accumulating from customers in the area immediately outside the premises. Does that mean your staff are going to go outside and do a litter pick, or how do you?
So basically, it's up to individuals, because I've seen to my current business that people throw everywhere, and there's nothing to do to our things that they get from our shop. It's very, very on a different individuals, and it's up for them to do that. But what happened is we're going to put the bin outside, if it's all right with the local community there. We'll put a small bin outside in case that people want to throw for the litter, through anything, any cans outside there. But it's very important that all the individuals know what they have to have this culture to put it in the right place. But we're going to supply a bin right to the door if it's necessary.
Cool. Thank you for that.
Any other questions for anyone on the panel? Yes, go ahead, Councillor Baxter.
Thank you, Chair. In the objection, it references the noise around the sort of local area and people hanging around the nearby pub in the evening, and they're worried about that happening by the shop. Have you sort of thought about how you'll discourage people from hanging around and sort of adding on to the levels of noise?
In terms of noise, so what happened is normally these shops, convenience store, they are mainly treated like a post office. They are quick and easy in and out. So it's not a lot of people going to stand around, because we've seen it. If you go outside Tesco, people coming in and out, or any convenience store, sorry to mention Tesco. So the thing is with that, for that, we have to apply with a license. We have to see, because obviously the license, says that we cannot serve people while they are intoxicated and they are drunk and disordered. So we're going to cut off basically anybody that will act antisocially there. For outside noise, obviously we take care of inside, but the best thing is, I think, that in terms of outside, we just need to get on and to explain them while under the shop, please don't hang around or make any antisocial behavior. Basically, we keep this relationship with all customers, that making sure that they are, when they come in the shop, they kind of behave the same inside and same outside. So that's why. I'm trying to figure out the answer, but it's very difficult for me because obviously, like, depends on people how they behave. Because we've seen like 100 people in my current business, they behave very well, but somebody just walks in and obviously they break our windows for no reason. So it's up to people mainly. But what happened is we try to talk to them, to explain, make sure that we invest what they would like, because it helps both sides, to explain that, look, we cannot just make any problems outside our building. And this in our favor as well, because obviously my daughters will stay there in weekends, and we don't want to see outside our window that any antisocial problems, any fighting or whatever, But I think this area is is quiet area with a high level of middle class people, and I think we're not going to have this problem there. Not because I'm trying to convince you that, look, please, to make easy for you decision for my licensing, but I think this is not going to be any problem, because I've seen and I've monitored now for 6 months that this obviously is a very quick things. It's coming, parking, in and out. So I think it's not going to have this type of problems compared to some different area of York. But I can't guarantee 100%, but we're going to communicate to each individual that please don't do please get yourself home, just carry your bags and try to get and engage with them. Because it's in our favor as well to not have in front of our house and the business as well to have any sorts of antisocial behavior, because we've got a lot of maybe university student that would be a bit intimidated to come into our shop if we have got problems in outside. So sorry, I'm going around, but it's not in our favor to do anything, any sorts of antisocial problems there. Okay?
Thank you. Any other questions from anyone on the panel? No? Okay, thank you. We'll move on. Mr. Allen, it's your opportunity now to present your representation. If you could try to keep it to within 15 minutes and start whenever you're ready. Thanks.
Thank you, Chair. I'm speaking on behalf of the Heslington Village Trust, which was set up as a registered charity by a number of academics and local residents when the university came to York, and is open to all residents, local residents. Heslington is an attractive village, much of which, including Main Street, lies within the Heslington Conservation Area and is immediately adjacent to the university. I think it's important that members understand the context here and the Trust's role. The Trust has two principal objectives: to prevent the university from swamping the village as it grew and expanded, and to protect the environmental character, identity, and charm of this semi-rural village. A significant success in this respect occurred in 2000, when, with the support of the university's Vice-Chancellor, John Grogan, MP, and York City Council, the Trust led the campaign to restrict the nighttime hours of the 4 banks and their ATMs because of the noise and disturbance suffered by residents in Main Street, particularly during the night. This was people accessing the ATMs on their way into York clubbing or on the way back. Barclays appealed York City Council's decision, and separately, an appeal against York City Council's refused planning application by Brown's Delicatessen to open a restaurant above their delicatessen in Main Street. In refusing both appeals, the DOE inspectors noted and emphasized that Main Street has 2 distinct characters. Firstly, during the day, it was a busy village street with residents, university staff and students, and others using the 2 pubs, the 4 banks, Brown's and Sinclair's letting agency. Secondly, after 5:30, when all but the pubs have closed, Main Street reverts to a very quiet, calm village street. Allowing these appeals, the inspectors determined would, I quote, help destroy this quiet atmosphere. Then in 2005, the Charles XII, swiftly followed by the Deramore, they're the two pubs, applied to extend its opening hours to midnight and later at weekends, supported again by John Grogan MP, our local councillor, and a petition signed by over 130 local residents. The Trust led the campaign objecting to the application. Facing such opposition, and no doubt fearing a refusal from CYC, the brewery withdrew the application, and which was quickly followed by the withdrawal by the Deramore of their application. In 2019, the Charles XII tried again with an application to extend their opening hours. The Trust again objected, citing the previous precedents and decisions, whereupon the brewery again withdrew their application. What all this demonstrates is that local residents greatly value the quiet calm that settles on the village in the evenings, and the DOE inspectors recognize this. This quiet calm is only broken for a short period at the pub's closing time, with noisy customers disturbing residents as they wander home. The application under consideration here for a license to sell alcohol up to 8 p.m. needs to be judged against these established precedents. It's not the sale of alcohol per se that is objected to, and normal shop hours closing at 5:30 would not be an issue. However, it's reasonable to assume that students, rather than local residents, are the target market here, and one can envisage a significant increase in foot traffic to and from the shop, with no doubt a certain amount of noise from customers hanging about outside the shop, possibly drinking the purchases they've just made. Furthermore, there is no doubt the Deliveroo Uber Eats issue with motorbikes arriving to pick up orders would create yet more noise and disturbance. To summarize, previous DOE inspectors have recognized and supported the quiet evening and nighttime character of Main Street. Granting a license to sell alcohol beyond 5:30 p.m. would, for local residents, create noise, disturbance, and the loss of the quiet enjoyment of their properties, and also create a dangerous precedent for the pubs applying to extend their opening hours. The Trust therefore urges members to refuse alcohol sales after 5:30. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Sorry, I've lost track of where we've. Mr. Dervishi, do you have any questions for the representative? And if so, would you use the microphone?
5:30 is too early for us to do any sorts of business, because obviously everybody finishes work. It's not working for us. That's why we try to do it 10 or 9, but obviously we're always strictly to 8 with the planning. Obviously, I don't think it will be the shop will bring any antisocial behavior. We're closing at 8, and 8 o'clock, most of people are in good behavior.
Sorry,
Sorry.
before we finish, you'll have 5 minutes to start.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Any questions?
In terms of
Anything that's been.
Okay, bye. Any question?
Anything that's been said in the representation today or in the written representation, or anything that's a question or clarification?
I can't think any question, but obviously, yeah, I was just thinking about the, obviously from my side is that, the shops will bring certain things, but we don't think you'll bring these things. So that's what I've got an ask for this, the gentleman said.
We'll come back to you in a few minutes, so
sorry,
then give you an opportunity to make those points. That's fine. Any questions from anyone on the panel for the representative? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you say that if they open till 8, it'll be a precedent for the pubs. I'm not sure how an 8 o'clock opening, which the pubs already have, I assume they close at 11. So how does the Trust think that opening a shop till 8 will help the pubs open till midnight?
The view that we take and I've identified here, was that we think that the pubs will periodically try to extend their hours. They tried in 2005, backed off. They then tried again in 2019. And in both cases, it was the Charles, which is owned by Stonegate Group, the largest pub owner. It's not a village pub owned by somebody that, lives above the shop, as it were. And if as in 2019, when they tried again, they backed off again. But if they could cite that this convenience shop is also selling alcohol until 8, that kind of indicates a loosening of the rules, as it were, loosening of an undermining of the precedent, and would make it more easy. I have to say here that of the two pubs, they too have a distinct character. The Charles goes for the student market, has lots of TV screens. The Deramore has no screens, no machines inside. Is aiming for a different clientele, and people who live in the immediate vicinity of the Charles do suffer from people hanging around outside that closing time. I mean, the university recognizes the problem and has, I mean, not strictly related to the pubs, but related to students coming back from an evening in town, and they have pairs of people who wander around helping students get back home, asking them to be quiet. It's a recognized problem, which the university, to its credit, tries to deal with. And I was instrumental in setting up with Ron Cook, the then Vice-Chancellor, Good Neighbours, where we periodically, 3 or 4 times every quarter, we meet with the university. They tell us what they're up to by way of development. We tell them what our concerns are locally with regard to student activity and this sort of thing. So there is a recognition that there can be a problem of noise and disturbance in the evenings. The university does what it can. We do what we can.
Okay. And you mentioned you thought there was going to be some delivery activity.
It's not in at the moment, it's not in our plan, because obviously it's a bit outside a city area, and it's not in our plan at the moment for Deliveroo or any apps. We are concentrated to serve community there, and also students, to target everybody around, to help everybody around, not just the students. We're targeting everybody around, because that's how we can make the place survive.
Okay. So there was no evidence. That's fine. Thank you.
Any other questions from any panel members for the representative? No? Okay. So the concerns that you have about noise and litter and bottles, do you feel, I just wanted to clarify, do you feel that might only be a problem after 5:30, or just that would be, you're worried that that's when it'd be worse?
That's difficult to say. I think the gist of the argument behind restricting sales up to 5:30 is that historically that was when the 4 banks closed, and of course now we have no banks. That was when, or is when, Brown's, which is the other shop, closes. And so the consensus, as I mentioned, by the various Department of the Environment inspectors, was that after normal office hours, working hours, the village changed its character. It was just the residents, people going to the pub, but and somebody who lives, speaking as somebody who lives there, it does have a very different character. I mean, it's quieter during the day than it used to be because we don't have the banks.
Any other final questions from the subcommittee? Okay, in that case, we'll move into the summing up and we'll do that in the reverse order. So we'll start with Mr. Allen, if you have anything else that you'd like to say to sum up or any final points to clarify.
I think the only thing I would say is that if a license is granted until 8 o'clock, and with the best will in the world, the owner, Mr. Dervishi, tries to control his customers and keep them quiet. I mean, that's a very difficult thing to do. It's beyond his gift, really. If our concerns are in fact realized, what actions could then be taken? If you granted a license to 8 o'clock, could you, in the event of the circumstances that arise, rescind that and restrict it to 5:30? That's a question for you, I'm afraid. I don't know.
Yes, licenses can be reviewed. Is it more appropriate for the licensing officer to answer that?
Yeah, if I can answer that. So if the licence was granted today for the times that the applicant wanted, and public nuisance became an issue or crime and disorder, then anybody can apply to review a licence. So yourself or another member of the local community or the police could apply to us to review the licence, and then that review could either revoke the licence or amend the hours. So it's not, once you've got a licence, that's it, you've got it forever. It can be, well, the licence is granted forever, but it can be reviewed at any time. Is that okay?
Thank you. Is there anything else that you want to say in summation? Is that everything?
I don't think so.
Yeah, do you feel like you've had an opportunity to say everything that you want us to
Yep.
hear before we make a decision?
Yes.
Great, thank you. In that case, Mr. Dervishi, your opportunity to do the same. Any final points that you want to make? Anything you want to say in summation?
I just want to say basically 8 is very early. So we will try our best try to manage any individuals, because sometimes people come across differently, and we'll try our best but the thing is here that we're talking so much for the pub open 11, pub that, pub open, we've got 2 pubs. You know, we have to concentrate on this license here. We invested so much time in this, and obviously finance, and we have to concentrate with this one till 8 o'clock, this convenience store, because we taking the conversation to the pubs and everything else, which is, I understand, it's not fair to mix us up together, because the people is different licensing for the pub. When people drinking in and create so much disorder and antisocial behavior. But this is a different style. It's different type of business. This is more helpful. We've seen when it's the COVID, you know, this was a lifeline for all people, all customers, all who supported us, and who we try to support them as well. So this is a different style of the pub. You need to consider like a post office, something that, you know, will help all the situation. So I know we appreciate the pub is there, but it's nothing to do with us. When people come out of the pub, we are already closed. And it's early, it's quite early, 8 o'clock. We've seen all the convenience store open 24 hours or 11 or 10. So I think it's not going to bring any antisocial behavior, but we will try our best to manage it.
Okay, thank you very much. Does anyone on the panel have any final questions, any points of clarification? We all feel like we've got all the information we need to be able to make a determination. Okay, great. Then thank you very much both for your time. We'll go into a private session now to deliberate and make a decision, and then we will come back into this room to say publicly what the decision is. You're welcome to wait. Somebody will find somewhere where you can wait if you want to wait and hear the decision today, or you will be informed in writing and it will be on the webcast. It's up to you. Thank you both for your time.
Thank you.
We have decided to. We've decided to grant the licence as applied for with the additional conditions as agreed with the police. So thank you very much for taking the time to come and talk to us today and for providing to everyone, all the representatives for providing the information to us that we could consider today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You'll receive a full decision notice in writing.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.